Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Imagine an app that finds trending news, turns them into viral tweets, writes a video script for you, and even generates a preview video all on your phone, offline. Today I will show you how to build NewsBite AI in Flutter from scratch. In this app, we are going to add offline support. We are going to integrate AI using Gemini and also create something that could actually go viral. So this is the app preview. This is the screen to view trending news from any country. You can also click on this button to watch or read the news online on the website that published it. Okay, so you can go through it, get more idea about the trending news and all that. You can also go back, and from here you can view the AI analysis of that particular news. So when you click, AI summarizes the news for us, gives us the summary, the sentiment, the virality score, so you will know if it's something you want to create content around. You have a key insight, you have the community response, and a lot of things that you need in that news. So based on the prompts that we're going to give it, they can generate content. Here you will be able to see the generated content, the social media content that you can share with friends, and it comes with hashtags. Okay, you can post it on Twitter, you can post it on X, right? Twitter X, you can post it on LinkedIn or Facebook. And we also have a video script. With this, we can use it to create something that could actually go viral, more like a video script. We can generate, you can use it to generate AI videos. So this is the prompt that we'll give to AI to generate the videos for us. And when you're done, you click on this button to generate AI video from this script. Okay, and this works offline. So whether you have internet or not, you can still access the previous news. Okay, then if you have internet, it's going to refresh it and update the news with current articles. So let's get started with this. All right, so right now you can see I have my screen. Everything is just clean. So I'll just go ahead and run this app, because as you can see here, I have my features, I have my data directory, they are all empty. I have my news screen, which is empty. I have my news provider, which is also empty. And here I have my core. Inside my core, I have my enums, where I have my view state enums, and inside the constant, I have the URL of the news. I have my API key for Gemini. I also have my API key to view news. Okay, so the next thing now we need, if you go to my main.dat, it's just nothing, right? But since we are using offline first, this is a dependency that is going to help us to cache our API responses. Here I have my shared directory where I have my colors, the primary color and black color. I have widget. Nothing is actually inside widget. So next, let me show you guys the prospect.yaml file, the plugin that we are going to be using to build this app. So the first plugin we need here is the provider, of course, for managing our states. We have cached the URL launcher to open the articles on the website. We have the int dependency to properly format date, time. Then we have Google generated AI plugin that will be using to consume to use the AI feature of Gemini. Then we have Firebase core. So one thing you should note is before you can use generative AI, you need to connect your app to Firebase. Okay, make sure your app has been connected to Firebase. I've already done that in this project. You can see my firebase.json is here. I have my Google services.json and everything. Okay, so I don't need to do that again in this video. If you don't have an idea, I'm going to be dropping a link in the description so you guys can watch my Firebase video. Then we need share plus to help us share the script with friends, share the social media content and all that. Then we have offline first support, which is going to help us to cache our data. So if you notice here, I'm not using any HTTP package or Duo, because offline first support is going to handle that for us. It's going to make the request to the API. Once the response is received, it's going to cache it for us. Amazing one. So here I have, as you can see here, I have the news that we are going to be using, newsdata.io. So this is my API key. Okay, so make sure you don't use mine. Try to create a new account, sign up, and you'll be able to get your own API key. So this is the example response that we are going to be getting whenever we are working with this. Okay, so you want to copy this response. When you copy it, you go to your paste.json, quicktype.io, and from here you're going to copy. Just go ahead and copy the model, right? Paste it here. It's going to generate a model for you. This is the configuration I normally use. Switch to that, put null safety, generate copy with method, make all property optional, then you copy this. Once you're done, we are going to go to our project. Let me zoom in a little. So we're going to go to our project. Just inside here, inside our features, home, data, I'm going to create a new file, a new directory, which I'm going to call models. And inside these models, I'm going to, let me also create a repository because we'll be needing it later. So inside these models, I'm going to be creating news data model. That. So inside this news data model, I'm just going to copy and paste that stuff here. Okay. So here I have my news data model that I'll be using to pass the API response. And so far you can see the result. It has article ID, title, link, keyword creator, video URL, description, and a lot of things that we'll use in our UI. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that one. The next thing I want to do is to initialize things. Let me go back to our prospect number 5. We need to initialize offline first support in our main.dat in order to use it. So what you want to do, just go to your main.dat. Just here, you initialize offline first.init. Make sure you have already imported the dependency. The dependency is from here. If you go to pop.dev, you're going to see offline first support. This was published, I think, yesterday, 35 hours ago. So here you can see the documentation. You can use it to fetch data. You can use it to save data. By default, fetching data with internet will help you to cache the data, right? It's going to cache it for you when you make the API request. So most times you don't really need to use save data. If you want to watch data, like to subscribe to data, you can use the stream builder. We have offline first.watch data, and it has the response. The status is going to return true or false. We have message and we have data that will return the API response back to you. And that's pretty much it for that. So I'm going to show you guys how we can use that. Then the next thing we want to do is to use our Gemini. So make sure you have connected your app to Firebase. Currently, my app name is NewsBite AI, and you can see the accounts that I used to connect it to Firebase. And before you can use that, any Gemini API, you need to go to your Google Cloud, go to your project, make sure you're using the same Google account, go to your project on Google Cloud. You're going to see your dashboard, NewsBite AI. So go ahead and click on API and services. So from here, inside APIs or services, you go to your, go to enable API services. So it's going to open up this API view for us, API library. So go ahead and search for generative AI. So here you're going to see Gemini AI API. So click on it. From here, you can enable it because your own is going to show disabled. So you need to enable it. And once you enable it, that's pretty much what you need. You can also actually manage it if you want. And I think to enable it, most times you need to connect your payment method or something like that, your card. I've already done those stuffs already. So we go back, and here, when we go back again, just go to this part where we navigated from. Click on credentials because we need the API keys. Click on credentials. Here you're going to create a new credential. Click on API key, and from here you can, I created it already, and you can see I have API key 4. Just go ahead and show key and copy the key because that's pretty much what we are going to be using to work on this platform. Then on the free news API, remember I told you that you just need to copy this, click on the dashboard. Once you have signed up and everything, click on the dashboard. From here, you'll be able to see, click on API key. You'll be able to see your API key. So you need to copy this API key here and use it in your project. And here we have the, here you're going to see the total for free users. you're going to see the total calls that you need to make in a day is 200. So far, I've made 15 calls. That's why it's important to cache the data most times. And if you are using this API, make sure you maybe subscribe to the premium plan, and also you can make your app paid so that you won't be the one paying for all these charges. All right. So that's pretty much it for this. We can now go back to, let's say, free news API. From here, we'll be able to see the API link that we'll be using. They will pass the API key and every other thing. So that's pretty much it, all the overflow that we need in our app. So now, more like all the walkthrough that we need. So now let's start building our app from scratch. So first thing I want to do is to show you guys the constant.dat. So from this constant.dat, I have my news API key, which is this. I've already added it. I have my Gemini key, Gemini API key, which is for generative AI. I have this one. You can just ignore this one because I wanted to use ChatGPT for this, but I switched to Gemini. Okay, so let's leave that one for now. We have our news URL where we have the news data. Okay, and from the news data, you can see that I now added the news API key. Let me shrink this a little. And then I have my country. You can change the country locale to your country locale or the country you want to get news from. Then priority domain top. I need like the top news. All right. So that's pretty much what I did for this one. And that's it. We don't need to do anything else there again. So yeah, that was a lot. Okay. So now let's go back to our new screen. In our new screen, I'm going to be creating the view, right? So the first thing I want to do is create, I think it's going to be best just create a scaffold widget right here. We have a scaffold widget, and inside here I have my app bar. Then we can see center title first. All right, pretty much what we are expecting. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to create a body widget. And the body, I'm just going to build out the UI of how the body is going to look like. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to use a container widget here. And inside I have my child, which is going to be a list view builder. And item builder, we have the contest and the index, like so. Then item count. For now, I will just use an item count of 10. And quickly, I'm just going to return, I think I'm just going to add a padding to this container. Then it's better we just use padding widget instead. So from here, I'm going to return the news card view. So the news card view is going to show us how the card view is going to display, okay? And that is going to be stateful widget. So here I'm going to have return news card, okay, like this. So here I'm going to pass the data of the news card. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the presentation, create a new directory, which I will call widgets. And here I'm going to create news card.dat. So inside news.card.dat, I'm going to create a stateless widget, and I will call this news card. And we have a parameter that is just going to be like the news. And the news, since we have a model and this news data has this model already, so this is going to be results, okay, which is more like the news results. So we have a parameter that is going to show results news data, like so, okay. And here we have to pass in required this dot news data. So make sure you import the results. So since this result is not available, I know we cannot really see the UI. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it null. Okay, no, I will leave it like that. But I will go to our new screen here, import this. And inside here, I have my news data. We can just manually pass the result like this. Okay, I know it's not going to have any data, but that's pretty much fine. So I'm going to go back now to our news data, news card dependent. So this, what I created is just like a custom widget that we are going to pass all our data in. Then I also need to create a new callback. This callback is going to handle this is going to be required this dot on view analysis. So whenever user clicks on it, it's going to take us to the next screen to view analytics, like the analysis of the news. Okay, so that's it. Now let's quickly build out the UI for this one. So first I need my card widget. I have to put in a margin of vertical and horizontal margin. Okay, like this. Then I have to put in the child widget, which is going to be a column. And here I have my children. So first thing, I need to create a cached network image. So this cached network image is going to show the user image, like the URL. So we have cached network image, and here I have, no, the image URL, which is just going to be from news data.image URL like this, though most times it's going to be null. So we need to handle that in case it's null. We have a width of double.infinity. Then we have height of 100. Then if we have box fit, so I want you to fill the whole widget, box fit dot cover. And here finally we have the error widget. So this error widget is more like when there is any error, like if the image did not load, then we have to show that error widget like this. Okay, so I'm just returning a container with color of gray, and you can see how it's showing. Nice. So the next thing we are going to do here now, I'm going to wrap this with, I want to give it a border radius. So I'll be wrapping this with clip red border radius, like so. You can see the nice corner radius there. So that's pretty much it for that one. I'm also going to add column here. And for the card, I need to add a shape and an elevation of 4 like this. So it will give you that shadow effect. Now I need to create other children, like the news detail screen and every other part of it. So here I have my column 2, and inside the column I have my children, and this column I'm going to be wrapping it with padding widget, so there will be space around it. So I have padding to be 12 like this. And next thing I'm going to do inside the column, I'm going to add a role widget. So the role widget is going to have the news source icon. So because the news, we need to know where the news is coming from, like who published it. So we have the radius to be 15, and here I have my background image, and I'm going to be using cached network image provider, and we have the news data dot source icon like this. So all these things are coming from the model that we just created, because I'm going to show you guys how to pass this model after building the UI. So it's going to show us the model that we just created. You can see all those data are inside: source name, source URL, source icon. They are all inside. So next thing I'm going to do is to create the test to show the name of the news source. So we have our news data dot source name like this. So if it's null, we return something. Then we have our style, test style. So inside here, I'm going to add my font weight dot bold. And I also need to add my font size of 12. I think font size should be 14. And color is going to be, let's say, colors.blue. Let's use blue accent. Okay, for now it's null. It's null, so that's why we are not seeing any data. So this is how we're supposed to show. So I will just add dummy data here for now so that we can see how the UI is showing. Then we have a spacing here, or let me add a spacing of 10, like so. Nice. Then space axis alignment to be space between. So that means I don't really need the spacing if I'm putting space between. So you can see how it's showing. Everything now is coming together. Let me replace this and put it dot start. And that's pretty much the news source. The next thing we are going to create now is the date. Here, just inside here, I'm going to be creating the date that the news was posted. Published date. So this publish date is going to be formatted using the int dependency that we added inside our prospect.yml file. Okay, we need to be formatting it properly. So if you can see now we have our date there and the dummy data that shows the name of the publisher. Cool. So now we can move on to adding to add a title and also to add other details. So what I'm going to do here, let's say from this role and go down, I'm going to add news data.title. If it's empty, we return title like this, just dummy. So this is going to be the title here. And then moving on, we are also going to add the description. And the description, we are also going to add the various buttons as well. So for the description, we have our news data.description. Let's just call this description like so. All right, so all these things are dummy data for now. We have colors.gray and we have every other thing. So next thing I'm going to do is to create the button that is going to navigate us to the different screens. So first thing here, I have my role. We have a main axis alignment dot main axis alignment dot space between. So from here, I have my children. I have my elevated button. Okay, so this elevated button is just going to show us, I think I'm going to use elevated button.icons. It's going to show us the unpressed. So whenever users press on this, it's going to navigate them to the news using URL launcher to navigate them to the news. We have our label that shows read online. And outside that, we also have our icon that shows icons dot open browser. Okay, I think that's it. You go ahead and save that. We have our button here, but I don't like the color, so we can just give it an elevated color with using the primary color of our app. So let's add it like this. Import our primary color, and here you can see it's looking good. It's giving us this AI feel. The next thing I want to do now is to view analytics. Remember, I already created the void callback here, which is view analysis. So whenever users tap on view analysis, it's going to call this one for us. So we have the button there as well. Then to handle the URL launcher, I'm going to create a simple URL launcher. So we have it here, which is from this prospect.yml file. We have the URL launcher to help us launch our website on external browser. So just below here, I will just add it here like this. So we have open news URL, we have the build contest, and we have the URL, we have the async method. So whenever user taps, it's going to show this dialog opening URL. We don't really need that, so I'm going to close it. So if we're going to check if the launch URL, make sure you import it. So if launch URL.pass, we're going to pass the URL, and we check if contest is mounted. Then if everything is good, it's going to launch the URL. But if it's false, if there's any error, it's going to return could not launch URL and break. Okay. So on news URL, we are going to call it whenever users tap on the onPress property. So when you tap on this onPress, we are going to return news URL, which is going to be coming from the news data dot source URL like this. So if it's empty, we are just going to return empty string. So we also need to handle it here. If URL dot is empty, we can just return. So we are not going to launch anything because it's empty. So we will not have that error and any other thing. Okay. So that's pretty much how our UI is going to look. Soon we are going to be updating all these data. So now let's quickly run down to our news. This is our news screen, right? We have done it. So I'm going to go down to our news API repository, where I'm going to be creating all the repository that we'll be needing to make this work. So the first thing we want to do, go to repository directory. Inside here, I'm going to create news API repository. So here I'm going to be handling the fetch trending news generate news AI analysis, generate news AI social content, generate news AI video script, and generate news AI video from scripts. So here we have this fetch trending news is coming from, the response is going to be news data model. Remember, we already created this news data model. So these are the classes that we'll be needing, the repositories that we'll be needing. So inside here, I'm going to create a class and I'll call this news repository implementation, and I'm going to implement the news API repository. So go ahead and import all the missing methods. So we have all 5 of them here. So first, let's handle fetch trending news. So to do the fetch trending news, the first thing we want to do is to initialize offline first plugin. So it's offline first support. So you can see here, first thing we need to do is to initialize it, and then we can use this method to call it. So I've already done the initialization of it inside my main.dat. Inside here, it has already been done. Then the next thing we want to do now is to create an instance of it. So just import it like this. And then fetch trending news, you can just use our async here. So to fetch the trending news, we have our final result. This is more like, similar when you're making a API request with HTTP. So we have await offline. Make sure you make this to be private. So we have our offline first.fetch data. Then it takes the URL part. Now we are going to be using the news URL that we already created in our constant.dat directory. And we are also passing the API key there. Then we have our fetch policy. Here we are going to specify the fetch policy. We have fetch policy dot cache only, cache then network, network only. So for now, let's use cache then network, okay? Or we can use network only. Let's use network only because we just want to make the API request from the network directly. And when you do that, it's also going to cache it to the. You can also set debug mode to true because we need to see what we are doing. But most times you can use K debug mode. So in case you mistakenly you forgot to correct it when you release mode, this is going to handle it for us. So this K debug mode is already part of Flutter. Okay. So from here, you have other properties. You can pass the headers in case the API requires headers. You can set timeout duration. You can also, yeah, that's pretty much it. And now what we can do is to check if result.status, if it's true, that means everything was successful. We can now return news data dot from JSON, which is coming from the news model, because this is going to return a string for us. So we need to pass that string accordingly. So we need to use new JSON. Make sure you do JSON.decode. JSON.decode, because this is going to return the raw data for us. So you need to decode it. Then if there is an error, we can just go ahead and return an error like this. Error result.message, there is an error and all that. Okay, so this is it for this news trending API. Let's go ahead and display the data inside here. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go to the news provider. Inside the news provider, I'm going to be creating a provider to handle news. So inside here, first thing I want to do is to initialize the news repository implementation. And then inside here, I'm going to create the model to handle all the news. So we have this news data model. So this is going to hold all the news for us. Then the next thing I want to do is to create my view state. So the view state, this is going to be for news view state. So in case there is any, if it's loading, to capture the loading state and all that for news. Then we also need to pass in a string to just show message in case there's any error. Like this. Then I'm going to create a method, future void fetch news. Like this. And inside here, first thing I want to do is to, let me create, I usually create this update UI because calling notify listener directly in the init state most times might cause some errors and all that. So I like adding a delay of 1 second before calling the notify listener. So I wrap them inside my updates UI. So what I'm going to do next is to go back to the fetch news method. So inside here, I have my news view state. Inside the news view state, I'm going to add the initial state to be busy, and then I update the listeners, like to update the UI. Then I have my try exception handling to catch any potential error that is coming from the network request. We have the error, and this is going to be the stack trace. So inside here, I'm just going to log the data out and then also return the view state and also update the UI. So here I'm going to set the news view state to error, and you can import this one to show the error, and stack trace, which is this, to show us the particular directory where the error is coming from. Then the next thing we want to do here is just to call the news repo and then call fetch trending news. So from here, I have my file news results equal to await news repo dot fetch trending news. And from here, I'm just going to call all news equal to news result, because this is the model now is news data model. Then I'll go ahead and call my news view state, and I will set this to view state dot success. Nice. Then we can just go ahead and call update UI. So this news is, I'm going to remove this finder to get rid of that. All right. So the next thing I want to do now, think the main.dat, I've already registered the provider for news provider. So I will save this now. And now the next thing I'm going to do is to go back to the new screen. And inside the new screen, whenever user navigates to this screen for the first time, we'll need to fetch the news. So inside here, just going to do something simple, which is inside the init state, I will have a method that says fetch news like this. Then when users come here, I'm going to call this method like this, fetch news. Okay. And so inside here, I'll just use my context.read news provider dot fetch news. Okay, I know we have not started the AI integration. First, let's fetch the news using the API. Once we are done, we can now go to the AI analysis. So save this. So what I'm going to do now, just do a hot restart to fetch the API response. So you can see we have our API data fetching from network. You can see the first thing that the fetch policy said is offline fetch policy dot network URL. This is going to be the URL with the details, and we have the API key as well, fetching from network. And so is showing us error, no host specified in URL. So, okay, this is more like the cache network image error, so can ignore that. So once everything is successful, network response save to cache. This is the network response that we just got now from the API, and the plugin, the offline first support, is handling this when we set the status debug mode to true. So it's going to fetch it and also save it to cache for us. And this is the whole response so far. So now that we have the response, what we are going to do next is to display the read data on this screen. So moving on, first thing I want to do is to add a loading state. But before I do that loading state, I need to wrap our widget, right? I'm going to wrap it with a consumer widget. So here I have my news provider, and inside here I have my consumer. Okay, and this is going to be news state child. So inside here now, I'm going to return this. So if new state is equal to busy, it's going to return this busy state. So see what happens when I reload. It's going to show us the loading states before the data shows. Okay, Then I also need to show another thing again to show in case the news is empty or the news has any error, we are going to show another message. So I checked if news data.all news dot results, because this all news now has results inside dot result, which is a list. This results, if you notice here, is a list of results. So I will check if the result is empty or news.viewState is error. Then I will go ahead and show, oops, error fetching trending news. You can update this UI. We have an icon. We have, please check your connection and try again. And then we have fetch news. When we tap on it, it's going to show, call this fetch news method. And then we have the app column. So just to show you guys how it works, what we can do here is, let's say I remove this. Yeah, I'm going to remove that and just remove this like this and save it. See how it's going to show. When I click on retry, it's going to retry the whole stuff. Okay, so this is the UI for error. So I'm going to revert this to how it was before. So right here now, what I'm going to do is, first thing, since I know now that the news list is not going to be empty, what I'm going to do is to add, I'm just going to check if news data.all news.results, if it's not returned an empty array, then I'll check the length. Okay, then moving on, I will also do the same thing to retrieve the news data. So from here, I have my final data, which is result. Here, I'm going to pass the index. Then this result is no longer going to be result, it's going to be data. Save it. You can see now everything has been rendered as they should be. Okay, so I think we have a UI, but I think this is not really giving us what we want. It looks small. The height looks small. So I'm going to go to the news card and see. Okay, we'll update this to 180 and see. Yeah, so this is big and better. All right. Then I'm also going to go down here and just remove all this stuff that I added here. And okay, so when we click on read online, this is going to take us to the read online, like the external URL using URL launcher. So it's going to show us the data and all that. So now that we are done with the news analysis, like the news screen, where we can see the latest trending articles, let's move on and create the news analysis screen. So here we are going to see the analysis of the news, what the news is about, and every other topics that are required. So in order to do this, I'm just going to copy, let me grab this news screen. So since we are going to be using almost similar provider, I'm going to copy this and come here and create what we call news analysis screen. This is going to be our AI screen. And inside here, I'm going to paste this one here, and I will change the name to news analytics screen. Like this. Okay. Then when we go back now to our new screen, and if you come down to think news card. So inside news card, where we are supposed to navigate the button to, okay, on view analysis tapped, right here, I'm going to call navigator dot push, and then we can navigate the route to news analytics screen. I think something is purely wrong here, which means I need to put, no, I've forgotten how this is done. Okay, all right, my mistake. So we have my material page route. We have this here. Okay, nice. So we can just click done to go back, and you can see our data and everything. So for the cache data, so since this API request, because if you go now to the API dashboard, let's say we try to refresh this, you can see that we have made a lot of calls already. So from here, you can see we have made 17 requests and it's still counting down. So that's it. And we can now go back to our app. Okay. So now we can click. If you notice, when I do a hot restart, this is going to fetch new data for us. And that means we are fetching more, making more API requests to the API, and it's reducing our count and all that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set cache only because this data has already been fetched. So let's start fetching it from cache. So I'll just set cache only here. So now it's going to be returning only the previous data that has been cached already. So it's no longer going to make any API call to the database. Okay, so let's move on now to what's the next thing to do? I think the analysis screen. We are going to click on View AI Analysis, and this is going to show the AI Analysis view. So right now it's just showing this View Analysis, which is not what I want. So for View Analysis screen, I'm going to create a parameter that is going to take the news data that we are going to send over. So we have our news data like this, return the result. And so whenever we are navigating to this screen, we need to pass in the news data. So from here, we have the news data, which is going to be data like this. Save that and go back. We can click on View Analysis. And here we don't need to fetch news anymore. Rather, we are going to be fetching analytics like this, fetch analytics. And this is going to be fetch analytics. So we have not really created that provider for now. So I'll just go ahead and comment this one out. And this is going to be news analytics. Analysis, news analysis. I keep calling it analytics. So we have our news analysis. And so from here, we have the news provider, still similar stuff. Then news states, news view states. We are going to change this to news analysis states. This should be view states. I think I spelled it wrongly. Yeah, I spelled that wrongly. So I'm just going to update them everywhere. Okay, going back now, I'm going to change this to news analysis states. News analysis states and all news results. So this shouldn't be not all news results because analysis should have its own provider. I'm going to go to this provider. So right here, I have the analysis because it's going to, when you use generative AI, it's going to return the response as a string. So we have our analysis as a string here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to change this guy to a string. So if a string is empty or this error fetching, we're not going to show error fetching or error generating AI analysis like this. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that one. We have here to be fetch analysis. So I'm going to change this to fetch analysis like this. Okay, in case you want to retry. Then moving on, we have our padding widget. So this padding widget is no more going to be a list view. Rather, we are going to use a single child screw view. We have a child widget. I have my column. And inside here, I have my 16. Children, we have the test tie. So this is going to show the title of the news that we are trying to generate analysis for. Let me go back, click on view analysis. Okay. All right, so right now I think the analysis is empty. So that's why we are getting that error. So let me just change this to it's not empty. I'm going to revert it later, but it's going to show us the title of the news. Okay, then from there, we are also going to see other details of the news, which is more like we are going to see the AI summary, And so to get the AI summary, I'm going to be building a section, like build AI section. First, let me add a size box of 8. So here I have this build section. This build section is going to contain the section like the title and also the content for the data and all that. So we have the AI analysis. So what I'm going to do here is to come here inside this widget. I'm going to create news analysis screen.dat. So from here, just go ahead and import all these data. So what we have here, we have the title, which is going to be AI analysis, and then the content follows under, which is a column. Okay. So make sure this is public. So right here, I'm going to import this here. So we have the AI summary. Because this news AI.analysis is empty, it's not showing any data. But assuming we have data, it's going to show like this. Okay. So I will revert it to the initial state. Then the next thing we want to do is to create other views, more like to show the generate content button. And also we are going to show a divider with a center widget that says, hey, this is going to be AI can make mistakes, verify all information. So users need to be very cautious with whatever analysis that this AI is giving them. Okay. So here I have generate content. You can generate content from the summary, and the generate content now is going to take us to content creation screen, which I have not created for now. Then we have this disclaimer here. AI can make mistakes, verify all information. All right. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go back to think we have our provider or our news API repository. Let me create the generate news AI analysis repository functions that we are going to use to generate AI data. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to go here, just generate AI analysis. We have generate news AI analysis. I'm going to make this as a constant async. So I think what I'm going to do, I will just go ahead and write all the logic for generate news AI analysis, generate news AI social content, generate news AI video script, and then we can now go ahead and do the integration. I think that will be better. So what I want to do next is I have a prompt already for generate news AI. So the prompt is like this. We have prompt generate a short summary, sentiment, virality score, and key insight for this trending news. Also make the heading bold. We can just remove this like this. Okay, we can just remove this, and now we can now pass the content. So this content is going to be the description of this analysis. Then the next thing we want to do is to return, let's create generate content method that is going to generate the content for us. So what I'm going to do, just write, because I want to create it separately because we are going to be using it for every other data. So we have generate content here where I have to pass in the content, which is more like the prompt, this prompt. So I'm going to pass in the prompt that will be sending to AI. Okay, so I'm going to quickly create the method somewhere around here that says generate content string prompt like this. All right, so for now, let's just return an empty string. I'm going to come back to that to fix it. So we have our generate content. So that's pretty much what we need. And then the next thing, I'm also going to use it for generating news AI social content. So I will copy this, come down here, make it async. And we have another prompt. So I'm going to update this prompt now, which is going to be generate a short social media post for this news. Then we pass in the content as well of the news. So it's going to give us what we need. And then next, I'm going to do the same thing for generate news AI script. Here we have this to be string news AI scripts. No, I think I used it from the wrong one. So it shouldn't be there. It should be generate news AI script, which is this. So basically, I'm also going to update the script, generate a short video script for this news. That's the prompt. And then the generate content is going to handle everything for us. So you can see how I separated the methods because we are using it on multiple methods already. So I just created a general generate content that is going to be calling the endpoint for us, like the API endpoint. So here, what I'm going to be doing is very simple. I have to generate content, I need to use the fetch API stuff to get our endpoints and all that. So first thing I want to do is to cache the data because we need to cache the data and also do things. So first thing we need to cache, let's say results equal to await because we want this app to also work offline, right? So we have our offline first.fetch data. Then the URL is going to be the prompt. You can just pass the string as the URL so that it's going to save it for us. Then we have the fetch policy. Let's use offline fetch policy dot cache only because at this point we are not making any API request. We only want to fetch the previously cached data or prompt so that we don't need to be making requests every time to the AI, generative AI plugin. So here we are going to check if results.data is not equal to null. That means we have cached data already that is matching this prompt or the key. Then we can just go ahead and return the previous prompt like this. Then what we can do next is now to make the request to the generative AI. So here I need to create, let me go back to the top of this section. I need to create the instance of the generative AI model. So what I'm going to do here, I have the AI.model, like the generative model. And to do that, I think I'll need to have this. Let's have generative model. Then we have our model like this equal to generative model. We have directory. So from here, what we are going to do next is to come down to, I think this is it, model and generative AI model. We have our generative AI. Maybe we can, yeah. So come down now to our model. So inside here, what I'm going to do is to use the await model dot generate content. You can also generate content stream, maybe if you want to build a chat app and all that. We have prompt. Here we can now pass the content. I think this content also is conflicting somehow. So let's add alias to this as AI. See, I think it's conflicting with this. So what we can do here is no, not this. We are going to add it to the AI imports. So from here we have AI.this, AI.that. And inside here, I'm going to use AI.content. Then we are going to pass in the content.test. So inside here, you can just go ahead and pass in the prompt, okay, directly like so. And I hope, yeah, this content is supposed to be a list. Okay, it's supposed to be a list, not just like that. So we need to wrap this with a list. And now inside the response, we can now check if the response.test is empty. So if it's not empty, like if it's equal to null, we are going to return model return no test, like an error message. Then finally, we can now return the response.test if everything is good, okay, like this. But also, we also need to save the response to offline first. That's if you want to save it or you want to cache it. Since the offline first have saved data, we will save it based on the script And inside here, we are going to pass the context, which is going to be response.test. So that's pretty much it for all these methods. So far, we have handled generate news AI analysis, generate news AI social media, generate news AI video. We are going to be doing this in a later video, not in this particular video. So we have generate news AI video script. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you will know when I publish the next video on generating videos. So that's pretty much everything we need for the repository. So now we are going to go back to our news AI, news model. So I'm going to create more strings. Since we have analysis, I'm going to create more strings like social media post, generated video script, okay? And here we have my news analysis state. We're also going to create news, let's just say content view states, okay? So moving on, I have to put in, we have our fetch news, which is the first one. We have the second one, which is going to be generate analysis. So I have it here already, which is generate analysis. This is going to be news analysis states, news analysis states, news analysis. So it's just similar stuff. We just have to check if content that is empty return, right? Because the content needs to be data. Then we set the view state to busy. Then we check using view results, news report or generate news AI analysis. We get the content. We have the analysis to get the results because this is going to return a string for us. Then we have the view state set to success if everything is good. Then we have the error message here. And then next thing we need to do is to generate social media post, which is also going to be similar stuff that we did from this one. So I'll just duplicate this here. And instead, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to change the name to generate social media post, right? It still takes the content, and this is going to be generate social media AI social content, okay? And we are going to change this one now from analysis to social media post. And the view state is going to be generate news content state. So make sure you change this to news content state like this. Then that's it. I'm also going to create the last one, which is to generate video scripts. So to generate video script, we already have the name, which is generate video script, content, news content, everything like that. And then we change this to generate news AI video scripts. And this is going to be generated video scripts like this. So far, we have all our methods created and everything is ready for us to use. So now I'm going to go back to our news analysis screen. So inside this news analysis screen, I will quickly return this one. There's something I did here. If it's empty, let it be empty like that. So inside the news analysis screen, I'm just going to call the generative AI and then pass the description like this. So we have context.read news provider generate analysis, which is coming from here. This model that we created, generate analysis. Then we are going to pass the widget.newsdata.description. So it will generate analysis based on the description of the news, right? The viral news. Then once everything has been created, we are going to return the news summary and every other thing. So watch what happens. I'm going to go back here and click on view AI analysis. Now you can see the AI analysis of that particular news. You can see we have the virality score estimated, why the news is positive and involves a major program too. Now you see the news summary, the sentiment, the virality score, key insights in the video. So based on the virality score, you will know this is medium, so you will know if it's something you want to create content around. You can also try for others. So let's move back here. And from here, you can see the generate content that is going to take us to the next screen that is going to show the content creation screen where we can view the social media post and also view the video script. So quickly, I'm going to go back here and create the social media content screen. So inside here, I will create a new view, which is content summary screen.dat. So inside here, I have my stateless widgets. So I'll call this content creation screen. And inside this content creation screen, we are going to pass the summary, like the analysis, down to this screen. We're just going to pass the analysis down to this screen because we'll be using the analysis now to generate social media posts and any other stuff. So now what I'm going to do, back to the news analysis screen, I will just remove the comments from this one, then import the content creation screen. And now we are going to pass the new state.analysis. Okay, so we are going to go back, tap on it. If we tap now, it's going to take us to this screen, right? So now we have this placeholder and everything just there, nothing much. So the first thing I want to do is to return a scaffold widget, and inside a scaffold widget, I'll be returning an app bar that says content creation. So here we have a builder. No, we need to create a builder like a consumer widget and every other thing. So first thing I want to do, this is the end of this. So I have my body here. So inside the body, I'll need to create the consumer widget. Inside the consumer, I have my builder, contest, new state, dot child, like so. And here I have my news provider. Okay. Then inside here, I'm just going to check if the new state, if new state is loading, like if news state dot, this should be state news content state is equal to view state dot busy, then we can just go ahead and return this circular progress indicator. Then if everything is good, we can now return the body. So first I'm going to use a list view for this, okay, because I want it to be scrollable. And for some reason, I think I'll just add, let me wrap this list view with a padding widget. I think list view already has a padding widget. Where? Let's see. Okay, it has a padding already, so we can just add a padding, and this is going to be agent set.system. Then inside here, I have my children. So since this, if you see from the demo, when I started this video, you will see that we have an expandable list type, okay? So I'm going to be creating the expandable list type for this one. So we have our expansion list type. I think that should be expansion type, like so. Then we have our type padding. We have our type padding, which is edge insert dot all. Let's just set it to 0. We have the initially expanded. Yes, I want it to be initially expanded so users can see everything. Main state, let's just set this to true. We have the title. So the title is going to be social. So for you to see, know that this is for social post. We have a text style of font weight dot bold. Save it. Now you can see we have this. You can see how it's toggling and showing us the details. Then next thing we want to do is to create another one for just under it. I'm going to add a size box, and still under it, I'm just going to duplicate this, and inside here, let's make this one to be video script. Then at the end of everything, we are also going to add a button that is going to navigate us to generate AI view screen. But before that, let's first of all fetch the user's data. So now what I'm going to do inside here, I'm going to return this has children. So inside this children, I have my list type, and inside the list type, we have a content padding agent set.all 0. Title is just going to be social media content. Then we have our trailing button, our trailing widget, which is going to be a role widget. The role widget main axis dot mean. We have the first widget, which is going to be the test widget here. I think the children rather. We have a test button. This button, the purpose of this button is to generate the social media post. So inside here, we're going to have a test that says generate. So when you tap on it, it's going to generate the social media post for us. And this on tap is going to call new state dot generate social media post. And then we are going to pass the context, which is going to be the analysis. This analysis is coming from this, okay? And based on the analysis, it's going to generate the video for us. Then the next thing I want to do is to check if news state dot social media post is not empty, right? If everything has been generated, I'm going to return an icon button here. So this icon button is to share the social media post. So we have the share plus. So we'll be using this share plus plugin to share the social media data. So we are going to call this new state.social media post. So it's going to carry out that, and users can share it to any platform of their choice. This is going to be share. Okay, I'm going to save this. You can see now we have the generate button. So notice when I tap on this generate button, it's going to generate the content. But for us to be able to see the content, just under this list type, I'm going to add news, a test widget that is going to show the social media post. So from here, watch what happens. When I click on generate, it shows the loading indicator, and then boom, we get the data. Jojo Twister Center is heading up, already boasting scholarship offers for Duke, James, blah, blah, blah. It's going to show us the, the hook, the social media post that we're going to post to various social media handles. And now it has its hashtag that we can use. So now that is it for that one. You can change the prompt to anything you want just to make it better. Now we are going to show the video script that we can use AI to generate script, because right now faceless videos is a thing. Okay, so you creating a video script is going to help you a lot, and in terms of generating revenue and all that in the market. So we have the children. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this because it looks like they are just similar stuffs. So I'm going to copy this. Yeah, let's grab this like this. Then here, I'm going to paste this, though it's still showing us the same thing. So we can just quickly edit these things off. So we have the video script here, and here, this one is going to be generated video script. And here we have generate. This one is going to change to generate video script in case users tapped on it. Here we are going to check if the generated video script is not empty. Then we go ahead and share this to generate video script. Okay. Now this is no longer going to be the social media post. Rather, it's going to be the generated social media, the generated view script, like this. So now I'm going to generate again. It's going to load, give us some time. And we are going to get a video script. So you can see the video script. Jojo basketball star received major college offers. Video opens with upbeat, energetic music and fast-paced montage. It's going to give you the prompt that you can send to AI to generate the videos for us. You can see how everything is looking good. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to create a size box that is going to take us to content creation screen or the video preview screen. So here I have this guy here. We just need to put it here. So looking at this, we have this button. If new state the generated video script is not empty, I'm returning a button, and in that button is showing generate AI video from script. Just go ahead and import this and save it. So this is it. When you tap on this, it's going to take us to a new screen where I'll call, let's say, video preview screen.dat. So inside here, we have a stateful widget that says video preview screen. Just call a like this. So we are going to go back now to this screen, just update this. So this video preview screen is going to take the video script like this, and we are going to pass the generated video scripts to that particular section of the app. So I'm going to save this, import this. I know it's going to show us error because the video script has not been created. So right here, I'm going to create the video script like this. I'm going to make it required. So this is the video script that we'll be passing to the AI to generate the video script. And we are going to be updating this screen as well to whatever we want, generated video. So this is pretty much everything. You can see now, if I do a hot restart, even though I turn off my data, because I'm using cached offline first plugin, is going to cache the data for us. These data are currently cached. We can click on view analysis. It's also cached. You can see it did not take too long to load. Now we can now click on generate content. This is also cached. This is also cached, right? So once it fetches it the first time, we don't need to be making multiple requests. It's also going to help us to save API, number of requests that we are making to the endpoint. So, but if we click on some other data, let's say we click on some data like this, view analysis, it's going to take a lot of time to load because it's fetching it now from the API. From the social media the generative endpoint plugin, right? Is generating the AI is generating the data, so it's going to take a lot of time. So when you click on view content, these things are supposed to be empty by default. Okay, it's supposed to be empty by default. So what we are going to do here is go back to our news provider. Whenever we view news analysis, like whenever we generate analysis and the data is successful, what we are going to do is to we are going to reset the other details, like say news content, like social media post. We are going to set it to an empty string. Also, we need to set the video script to an empty string like this. So I'm going to go back and try to generate a new content. Let's say I generate a new content from this Trump news, doubling down tariff. So now it has generated, and you can click on generate. You can see everything now is now empty. You can now click on generate to generate a new content. You can also generate a video script as well. So one thing you should know is AI can make mistakes. So make sure you cross-check your data before creating any content and make sure they are aligned with what you're trying to do. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and everything works fine as expected. This is our simple AI application that I've taught you guys how to use generative AI to generate content based on the prompt. You've known how to use offline first app, how to build an offline first app, how to consume APIs from an endpoint. Also, I've showed you guys, how to build beautiful UIs. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll do way to subscribe, follow for more videos like this.